Six Flags Whitewater is the primary water park in the Atlanta area, and it's one of the best water parks in the Southeast. This is one of the rare water parks in the chain that is not connected to a theme park. Typically, you find a hurricane harbor plopped in a former parking lot. Six Flags Whitewater feels way different in a good way. Let me explain why in this review. It starts with this park's history. This park was not built by Six Flags. Rather, it was built by the owners of Silver Dollar City and Hirsch Family Entertainment. This chain is known for presentation and atmosphere. Following the successful opening of Branson's Whitewater in 1980, the chain wanted to build additional water parks. They opened 2 additional Whitewater locations, one in Oklahoma City in 1981, and another in East Cobb, Georgia in 1984. In 1990, an amusement park opened next door named American Adventures. The park shared the same parking lot as Whitewater. This was a smaller family park, but both properties often cross-promoted each other. In 1999, Six Flags acquired both those parks. Six Flags Over Georgia was located just 15 miles south of the property, and it was one of the only parks in the chain, at the time at least, not to feature a water park. So Whitewater was a perfect fit. They immediately named the property Six Flags Whitewater, and the park began heavily marketing the property when you go to buy Over Georgia season passes and memberships. Meanwhile, American Adventures never really fit in with the chain. This is why Six Flags ceased operating the park in 2008, and it closed entirely in 2010. The site is now used for Six Flags trainings, HR, and storage. Today, you may know that Six Flags Over Georgia features a water park. They added a water play fortress in 2005 named Skull Island, and in 2014, they expanded the area into a Hurricane Harbor water park with a few additional water slides and pools. It is among the chain's smallest water parks though, but it's more convenient for people who just want to cool off midday at the main park. But make no mistake, Over Georgia and locals know that Whitewater is the area's main water park. Whitewater is the largest water park in the southeast, spanning a magical 69 acres. It is packed to the brim with attractions, but you won't really see any as you're approaching the park. This place is located in a forest. You have this long woodsy path taking you to the park's nondescript main entrance, and the trees do not stop once you're inside. It is one of the most highly shaded water parks I've ever visited. Outside of the wave pool area, most of the park is tucked under the trees. This makes it much harder to get a sunburn and gives the park a more unique feel. That's especially true when you consider this park's topography. This is a very hilly park. Rather than climbing giant staircases, you usually are hiking up these windy pathways. Then the slides, especially the older ones, tend to hug the terrain. While this makes the rides cool, it can make the park a bit tricky to navigate for a first-timer. The inclines and trees hide rides until you're right on top of them. Then you also have some confusing pathways. The lazy river is located in the center of the park, and there are a series of narrow pathways going over and under the attraction. Then a few slides are in close proximity to each other, and it isn't always clear which queue line you're joining, so if in doubt, ask an employee. But the location is easily a net positive overall. While the newer slides have flashy multicolored paint schemes, a lot of the older ones have more mundane paint schemes. Those slides tend to be tucked among the trees, and it keeps the focus on the nature. There isn't really any theming here, which isn't too surprising for a Six Flags park, and the buildings have the usual branding and advertising. But there is an old mill building towards the front of the park that does look really nice. It looks and feels like something to be plopped down Silver Dollar City. Daily admission costs $65 at the gate as of 2023, but very few people pay that. Daily tickets cost you $30 to $40 if you buy them in advance online. That being said, most people visit the park with a season pass or membership, myself included. Six Flags has changed their pass structure endlessly over the past 3 years, but in short, if you plan to visit this place twice, or Whitewater plus one of the other Six Flags parks, like the nearby Six Flags Over Georgia, buy the season pass. The lowest tier costs just $60 in 2023, and that also gets you into Over Georgia. Yes, you heard that right. The season pass is cheaper than daily admission. Higher season passes come with more benefits in Six Flags parks. The chain also recently reintroduced the monthly membership program, offering similar benefits to the season pass, just on recurring monthly payments. One of the biggest advantages of the season pass is that it includes parking. This currently costs $25 per vehicle per visit. You then may also have to pay for a locker. These cost $15 to $20 depending upon the size. There are 2 banks of lockers, one by the wave pool. This seemed to be the busier of the 2 areas, and it's convenient if you plan to spend a lot of time lounging around there. The second is atop the hill towards the back of the park. This one was much less busy, so I'd recommend this one if you plan to spend most of your time riding the slides. From what I understand, this park can get packed on summer days. I've heard the more popular slides can pull hour waits. For that reason, they offer a flash pass like the chain's theme parks. In fact, they were the first water park to offer a skip-the-line pass entirely. Some slide towers split the path to the top into 2 lines, one for standby and one for flash pass. Other slides turn the stairs into a merge point, holding a majority of the queue line in a series of switchbacks at the bottom. I didn't see an option to buy single shots on the Flash Pass website like with the amusement parks, but they do have an all-day Flash Pass option. Depending how long you want to wait virtually and the day of the week, this costs anywhere from $55 to $115. Most Six Flags dry parks put this on your phone, so I was curious what Whitewater would do. Well, I couldn't see firsthand. I visited on a relatively quiet day, so they weren't even offering the Flash Pass, but from what I could tell, it appears they give you an RFID wristband that sounds similar to the system the rides at Great Adventure use that do not allow phones, but I would love if someone familiar with the system could confirm this. I was surprised the park was as quiet as it was for my single visit. It was a beautiful Saturday in mid-May. That may have been the fault of the meteorologists though. They originally predicted a 90% chance of thunderstorms, but the giant storm system somehow missed Atlanta entirely, so I was rewarded with barely any lines. Most slides, especially the older ones, were near total walk-ons. A few had 15 to 20 minute waits. These were the family raft slides and the new Python Plunge. I would definitely prioritize these early in the day. While Six Flags Over Georgia has done a fine job staffing the park in recent years, I've heard it has been more of a struggle at Whitewater. I've seen several reports where they encountered numerous attraction closures, especially early and late in the season. During my visit, there was a quartet of closed attractions. The most disappointing closure for me was Dive Bomber. This is the park's tallest slide, standing 10 stories tall. This is a trapdoor slide taking guests straight down. The anticipation is incredible in these types of rides, and it looks steep enough to maybe give a little airtime, but even if it didn't, the sheer height would yield an incredible adrenaline rush. The closure that seemed to frustrate guests the most was the Little Hooch Lazy River. This is a quarter-mile course circling around the wave pool. The course didn't look to be anything special, but these rides are loved by people who just want to kick back and relax. Then there were 2 older slide towers closed in Caribbean Plunge and Tidal Wave. Both looked to be just okay. Other tube slides were available, including Gulf Coast Screamer. This was another windy tube slide down the hillside. Most of the experience is fairly mild, but I have to talk about the finale. This thing ends like one of those water slides at Action Park. You have a sizable drop, building appreciable speed. Then the slide just ends roughly 5 to 6 feet above the pool. So you immediately drop downwards and violently hit the splashdown pool, often leading to a comical wipeout. I had no clue this freefall was coming on my first ride, and it shocked the heck out of me. Python Plunge is the park's newest slide. It is a tall tube slide with a series of saucer turns. This allows the slide to maintain good pace the whole way down, giving it an advantage over your standard tube slide. While this is unclear on the website, single riders are permitted to ride. You just need to ride in the back of a double tube. It is also worth noting this attraction had the most frigid water in the entire park by far. Then you also have a series of larger raft slides. Tornado is your standard funnel slide. You have a steep plunge giving some airtime. Then you rock back and forth in the giant funnel, getting a cool visual and a smidge of weightlessness. Excluding the body slides, this is the park's most thrilling attraction. Typhoon Twister is a giant bowl slide. You have a long ramp building appreciable speed, followed by an even larger, more visually stunning bowl than usual. Then you have Bahama Bob Slide and Runaway River. These are the more typical raft slides with a series of small dips and turns. I did have to skip these because I couldn't find a group as a single rider, so I cannot speak to just how good they are. You then have a single mat slide in Wahoo Racer. This is a multi-lane racing slide. It has the familiar helix followed by a drop, but the profiling was tweaked to compensate for the terrain. Unfortunately, that did result in the final drop being shallower than usual, but you can still get your competitive juices flowing on this one. Now let's talk about the body slides. While the aforementioned dive bomber is closed, there were some other options on tap. They were located towards the back of the park in the hill. Body flumes is a trio of open slides. Given their age, it's not too surprising you'll feel some seams, but the minimal speed prevents major discomfort. The left and right ones weren't too crazy, but the middle one did have a wild turn towards the start. You had this extended ramp building good speed, followed by a super tight turn. Black River Falls is an enclosed duo of body slides. They are very dark. As with body flumes, you may feel some seams on the way down. While these are on the slower side, the turns are pretty interesting. They are super sharp and feel kinked, so rather than riding into the turn like most slides, it feels like you change directions by bouncing off the wall. It wasn't uncomfortable, just odd. The star of the show for me was Dragon's Tail. This was a wild speed slide. This was a quad down with each subsequent drop getting larger. And unlike modern versions where you have more gradual transitions between dips, this slide basically drops out from underneath you. So you get some downright terrifying sustained airtime on the third and fourth drops. Then you blast into the splashdown pool with a ton of speed, leaving you disoriented. And despite all the aggression, this slide manages to be smooth. For the less daring, there is Lizard's Tail. This is a much smaller double down. While the initial dip is decently steep, the slide is short and on the tamer side. The final body slide of note is Mutiny Chute. This is one of those shotgun slides, where you have a small slide that launches you airborne into the splashdown pool. This one was closer to the pool than some others I've been on, but it still offered a quick but fleeting thrill. For kids, there are a bevy of options. The best of the bunch is Skull Island. There are countless water features plus some smaller body slides. Complementing this is Buccaneer Bay, which is a water play area for the smallest of guests. Then you also have some activity pools. But the grandest pool of all is the Atlanta Ocean Wave Pool. This is a giant wave pool smack dab in the center of the park. The waves were plentiful, and this was packed with people open to close, even on a quieter day. Moving on to the food, your dining plan will work here. The offerings are on par with the course for Six Flags. You have the standard entrees like chicken tenders and pizza plus snacks. The chain's food is very pricey if you don't have a meal plan though, especially because the quality is just okay. How much time you'll need at Whitewater depends heavily on crowds. If you visit on a packed summer day, you likely will need a full day to see everything. But if you visit on a quieter day like me, you can comfortably see everything in a half day. That's especially true if you arrive at opening and hit the more popular slides first. The one con with a quieter day, especially if it's outside the main season, is that you're more likely to see rides closed. So do I recommend Six Flags Whitewater? Based on my experience, yes. I really liked this water park's atmosphere and location. It felt so much more organic with all the trees and hilly terrain. Then the slide lineup is fairly deep, spanning most major genres. There are two cons with this park though. One, it can get busy on summer weekends. Two, ride closures can be an issue outside peak season. While some attractions were closed for me, there was still plenty available, and with the minimal crowds, I could just keep on lapping my favorites. I had a nice time, but if ride closures could ruin your day, I would call in advance to see what's open if you anticipate the latter to be an issue. So those are my thoughts on Six Flags Whitewater, the main water park servicing the Atlanta metro area. What are your thoughts on this park? Let me know what you think down below. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.